Hey, everybody, welcome to the Jim Master Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show Series. It's so good to welcome you here and our special guest who's joining us live and direct from New Jersey, a great friend of mine, longtime friend, award-winning guitar virtuoso and composer, professor of music as well, John La Barbera. He is coming to us from New Jersey, from his home, surrounded by all of his string instruments and his guitars. He's going to be joining us in just a minute. How's everybody doing today? It's good to see you and welcome to our show. This is our Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show Series where we're bringing back that lost art of conversation with poignant moments, great chat, lots of levity, entertainment, and all kinds of cool things. We welcome all of our viewers who are watching literally from around the world, our JMS Levity Squad, and then some. Lots of comments coming in. We'll see all those comments. Keep them coming. Don't forget, during the show when it's live, you can do super chat and super emojis and super stickers, which, of course, supports the show. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Click the notification bell so you never miss any of our amazing episodes, which are epic, of our Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. And also give this episode a thumbs up, like, and all the episodes you enjoy of the Jim Masters Show Live. Give us that thumbs up, like on our YouTube channel. And also don't forget to leave a comment on the YouTube channel as well. Nice to see everybody. John, again, joining us. He's an extraordinary performer, a member of the American Federation of Musicians. He gained a reputation as a sought-out studio session player in New York City a long time ago, and he's been doing this for some 4 decades. His virtuosity on a wide variety of fretted string instruments has enabled him to record for some of Hollywood's most prominent film composers, including Howard Shore for the Columbia Pictures film Gloria with Sharon Stone. My friend John has also appeared on recording and performance projects with many great artists, including folk singer Judy Collins, rock drummer John Densmore from The Doors, actor Dominic Chianese, The Sopranos, Hollywood film soundtracks for Walt Disney, as well as TV and radio jingles. Worked with Broadway actress and star of The Lion King, South African vocalist Tsiddi Le Loka, and also the famed Italian Neapolitan singer Jimmy Roselli. In addition to all of that, gang, his original music has been recorded by many jazz, rock, and traditional world folk artists and ensembles. And as a producer, he's worked with several labels as well. He's a concert artist. He actually was a debut performer at the 1964-65 New York World's Fair, too, with his first rock group, The Fugitives. And since 1973, has performed in concert halls around the world with classical music, jazz, traditional world music. He's a composer, solo guitarist, chamber music as well throughout Europe, South America, Canada, and the U.S. He's done tours all around the world as well. He's had television appearances, lecture series at Boston University, Columbia University, New York University, University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, UCLA, and again, for almost 4 decades, internationally renowned guitar virtuoso, multi-instrumentalist and composer, John La Barbera has enchanted audiences throughout the world with his alluring sound. He started at age 10, too. The richness and power of the rhythm that he creates is extraordinary. He immediately graduated with a Bachelor of Music degree in classical guitar and composition from the Hartt School of Music in Hartford, Connecticut, and was awarded a scholarship to continue his graduate studies in Siena and Florence, Italy. You know, his incredible background really does touch a lot of different aspects of the music world, and he's worked with extraordinary people too. He's also, in addition to all of that, he's on the faculty of the Bergen Community College in Paramus, New Jersey, and Carramore Center for Music and Arts in Katona, New York, the Julius Hartt School of Music, the Guitar Center of Study, New York School, the New School, that is, in New York, also SESC in Brazil, and also Sessione Sinesi in Siena, Italy, and so much more. He's highly revered. He's also a private teacher for actress Jennifer Beals, yes, mandolin coach for the film Mrs. Parker and The Vicious Circle, private guitar teacher for the children of Paul Simon and Philip Glass, and private guitar teacher for a lot of others. He's just extraordinary. And that, again, that's just a short list, folks. That is just the short list of what my friend John is all about. This is his second appearance as a special guest here on the Jim Masters Show Live. And we're so honored to welcome him here again. He's coming to us from New Jersey. If you were with us last time, it was an epic conversation that we had. My pleasure to welcome my buddy John to our show. Put your hands together. Keep those comments coming. I see lots of comments coming in here. Keep the live comments coming. And don't forget to leave a comment on our YouTube channel as well. We would love that. Let's welcome John, surrounded by his beautiful string instruments and more from his home in New Jersey. John, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank
How
you.
are you?
Hello, Jim. So nice to see you.
It's so good to see you once again, my friend. And it's so nice that you can join us for a second time. I think, like you were saying when we were chatting, that when you were on the show about a year and a half ago, the show was relatively new, the Jim Master Show Live. And I think we were up to something like episode 17 or 18 or something.
Yeah.
And now here we are, some 600 episodes later. How have you been in that time, my friend?
I feel like it's been a time warp, actually.
Hasn't it?
Yeah, it feels like a time warp. It feels like, I've been trying to relate to things before everything shut down, and trying to remembering how things were and how things changed. And then, adapting. We're humans. We have to adapt to. I always thought that life was an obstacle course.
Yes, exactly.
So you just go with the punches,
Yeah.
Nothing is, so perfect that you're going to expect everything to be the same way. Every day you wake up, it's something new.
Yes.
So that's what we have to do. And
Yeah.
God bless it. We're here and we're doing what we love to do.
Now, you've been during this time making full use of this time. You've been very, very busy. I mean, there's new music out, and I know you're working on film music and so much more. Tell us, my friend, and just for folks who are joining us live or later will be watching this in the replay archives, like you did last time, John is going to be performing live for us here exclusively on the Jim Master Show Live. So stay tuned for that. But you've been quite busy, my friend, doing your thing, huh? Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, thank you for mentioning that. I always felt like I needed so much time to, doing music, there's never enough time. I mean, as soon as I wake up to the night, I'm like, thinking of music, all the time. And having this shutdown time has given me an opportunity to really, go back and spend time perfecting things that I wanted to do with the music. And then, as I was mentioning to you about the silent film series that we were going to do, I was writing 3 film scores. And I was lucky to have that precious time to be able to concentrate on that.
Yeah.
And just practicing music and coming up with new ideas all the time. And but the film scores were fun because I had a good a long stretch of time to work on them. And I'm working on a new film right now for another film series we're doing in April.
Oh, that's cool, huh?
Yes, that's going to be April 20th, 21st, and 22nd at the Jacopone Theater at Bergen Community College.
Yeah.
And I'm actually collaborating with a very well-known film composer, Donald Sosin, and Joanna Seaton, who live in Connecticut, not far from you.
Sure, yeah.
And he's a very important film composer of silent films. And we met in Pordenone, Italy.
Yes.
At the Pordenone Film Festival.
Very nice.
So we're collaborating again, and hopefully things by April we'll be having a live show.
That's ideal. I know you missed that. I know.
I know. So right now I'm in the middle of that score. It's like a daily process, just chip away.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And get what I could do. Do what I can do is, so that's, basically keeping me very busy. And besides that, I'm also teaching over at in Bergen Community College. I
Yes,
have my
that's right.
classes.
Yes.
I'm seeing a lot of people signing in and saying hello. So that's hello, everybody.
Hello to all the lovelies and all the new folks as well. And here's a photo of some of the new material, right? We got three
Oh,
different
yeah.
photos and then where people can get it as well. Tell us about the various ones that we're seeing on the screen there, my friend.
Okay. So this started out. The idea I had proposed to start a silent film series to producer Peter Ledun, who runs the Jacopone Theater at Bergen Community College, who's also a very well-known producer. He's doing an off-Broadway show that's coming not off-Broadway. He's doing a Broadway show was supposed to open in February. And he liked the idea of this proposition of doing silent films. And so we came up with the idea of doing a series, a specific theme on gangster films.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of the first genres of silent film, besides Western, was, believe it or not, were gangster films.
That's right.
And so the earliest one that can be considered to be the first gangster film is a film called The Black Hand. And it's down in that lower left corner. You could see that image. That actually is a very famous photograph that was taken down on Mulberry Street in the turn of the century. It's Robbers Roost, I think. It was an alleyway. There were many alleyways in New York. I've always been fascinated by New York City history.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I was born in the Lower East Side on East 5th Street, First Avenue. And my family, when they immigrated from Italy, they came from Italy, from southern Italy to the East Village.
Right, straight in.
And that's where I was born. And both my parents, were native New Yorkers, and so I was always attracted to the stories of the immigrants and New York at that period of time. And then, as I became more involved in music and studied music. I was always fascinated by history, and the history of New York City was always attracted to me. And, I'd be walking around the streets looking at buildings and wondering, the history behind them. And then down when I was walking around Little Italy, and that area there, the whole history of, the gangs of New York, that period, that film was also very influential. I really started to delve in more about the history. And growing up, my father used to tell me stories about the Black Hand. It was like an extortion racket.
Yeah.
Before they were organized, before the mafia. And this film that came out in 1906 is actually based on a true story. It's a short film. There's only 11 minutes. And, in 1906, audiences weren't that, they weren't used to going to see films. They were still, vaudeville was the popular entertainment. And vaudeville was, within all the immigrant groups, they all had their own theaters in lower Manhattan, down around the Bowery and Broome Street and that area there. And so, a lot of these stories were, told and retold. And, my grandfather owned a shoe repair store in the East Village. So he was a store owner. And those were the ones that, if you had a business, the Black Hand would, they would send you these threatening letters. And I grew up listening to these stories.
Yeah.
And then, like, when I started to do research with these films, I discovered this film. And I was really very attracted to it. So that's there you see here, The Black Hand. So you have 11 minutes. It's a very short film. I actually you can find them on YouTube. These films, they're available.
Very cool. Yeah, there's a couple of them, which I think is great. We have there's a total of 3, right? Yeah.
Yes, and so that led into The Adventures of Lieutenant Petrosino, and that also is a very interesting story. That one is actually the longest of the 3. That's about 48 minutes. That came out in 1912. And there's another photograph of downtown. I think that's somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but it looks like, Lower East Side.
Yeah.
Could be Little Italy.
Yeah.
And that also was based on a true story of the first Italian-American Lieutenant Petrosino. He was the first detective of the Italian immigrants. And he started the Italian squad. And then he was doing research on these extortion rackets like the Black Hand.
Mm-hmm.
And then he wanted to round them up. And so he went on an assignment to Palermo, where he was assassinated.
Mm.
And he was the first NYPD to be killed in the line of duty out of the United States.
Wow.
And they had a very big funeral for him in New York when he brought his body back.
Mm.
And I believe the funeral was held at the old St. Patrick's Church.
Mm. Yeah, sure.
Down in Little Italy.
My great grandfather, James Masters, as well. There's a long line of the James, was a New York City Mountie officer. He was one of those officers that you saw on the high horses.
Oh, yeah.
With those autos, they almost look like British style uniforms back then, with those very high, tall hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That was around that period of time.
My grandfather's father. Yeah. As well. Who
were they in Manhattan?
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Manhattan and also Queens, Astoria.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I know it well.
Yeah.
My old stomping grounds.
And that's it.
Yeah. Well, they were probably, that old St. Patrick's Church was very important for, the Irish and as well as for the Italian communities, because it was built by the Irish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it served, also for when the Italians started to move into the lower Manhattan. They also, had their services there as well.
Yeah.
And Martin Scorsese recently did because he grew up in that neighborhood, and they recreated a concert from 1827.
Wow.
And this was just recently. It was a special concert, and it was a concert that was put on and produced by Lorenzo da Ponte, who was the librettist of Mozart's Don Giovanni and The Marriage of Figaro. He wrote 3 operas with, imagine, he wrote 3 operas with Mozart.
Amazing.
And then then he came to New York City and opened up a grocery store.
But of course, right?
Hey, wait.
Of course. It's either that or a bagel shop, pizza place.
So it's a very, very fascinating story. That very fascinating life. And so he put on this concert there in 1827.
Wow.
And then Scorsese was very interested, and he made a documentary film about it. Actually,
that's amazing, huh?
Yeah. So Petrosino had a very big funeral there. So. So that film also, there's a lot of different sections in that film that, it takes you through, what New York life was for the immigrants at that period of time.
Right.
And I was able to, really try to absorb as much as I could in that story. So that's The Adventures of Petrosino. And the third one is The Musketeers of Pig Alley, which also takes place in New York. And that's a fascinating film because it's about this musician, a violin player, and his girlfriend, and living in an apartment in the city, just like today. And then he has this run-in with these gangs that are in these alleyways, and all the life in New York in that period of time, 1912, 1915. So it really recounts New York history. And, with the music, I had been doing films, these film scores with I know if you remember, Susan Aquila was a wonderful violinist.
Sure, absolutely.
And with guitar and violin, also with mandolin. Um, and I think one of the things that I realized that in doing these films, and I was going to be doing it, in the lockdown, was it wasn't like I could, organize rehearsals and, expect to do things with a lot of musicians. So everything was just what I had here in my attic.
That's it.
The guitar. So it really, made me try to do all these film scores with just the guitar. And I use the guitar as my main composition tool as well. A lot of composers write on the piano, but
Yes.
but my main vehicle is the guitar. So and then from that, if I wanted to orchestrate it, that could always be, expanded for other instruments. But there was nobody else around, so what else can I do?
Right. And you are surrounded there in your upper attic with lots of beauties. Tell us about what we have there.
Oh, I don't even know. Well, you'll see all these different necks of instruments. I can show you. I actually use this instrument on the film score for Petrosino. This is called the chitarra battente, and it's actually comes from the late Renaissance, early Baroque period. This is the evolution of the guitar as it was around 1550, up until like the middle of the Baroque period. And it was the ancestor of the first steel string guitar. So it has metal strings. You can see the length is smaller. This particular instrument is very precious to me because it was made for me by one of the finest luthiers of these instruments in southern Italy, in Calabria, in the mountains of Calabria, which at that time was very remote when I went down there to pick up this guitar, which I had ordered 2 years previously. And I actually wrote a story about it. It was called Journey to Bisignano. And Bisignano is the town where this master guitar maker, who's living in the same house since his family since the 1700s, using the same tools and the trees, and the only communication at that time was by word of mouth. There was no phone, nothing.
No phones, nothing.
Not even I didn't even have an address because you didn't have an You just say the guy's name, Giuseppe or Vittorio. You go to Vittorio, the guitar maker.
Right.
So after 2 years, I found out somebody came back, and I was living in Florence, Italy at that time. And one of my friends said, "Hey, your guitar." I was down there and I saw Vincenzo, and he said, "Your guitar is ready." So I said, "Well, how do I get there?" He says, "Well, just take a train to Bisignano." And then I realized there's no train to Bisignano. So I had to look for like the closest town, and then I just figured I'd get there somehow. So I hitchhiked through the mountains. I hitchhiked through the mountains.
Oh my God, what a story!
And,
what other beauties do you have there to show us, my friend?
Okay.
These are some of his toys. He loves them. Last time he was on our show, he did the same, and just incredible. Take a look, gang.
The saz. This is the Turkish saz. It's also one of the traditional instruments from the Middle East. It's from Turkey. There's only one sound hole, which is on the bottom of it.
I love when you strut it a little bit there, strum it so people can hear the different sounds too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't tune it, so I'm not really Um,
But it's cool sound, isn't it? Definitely
yeah,
Middle Eastern sound.
yes, it's got like 7 strings,
Does it really?
two double strings and one triple set.
Linda in Florida wants to know how many different instruments can you play, John?
Out of these pluck string instruments, I'd say there are about 12 or 13 of them, maybe more. One of the reasons why I started to collect some of these instruments was because I started to do a lot of studio work in Manhattan, and producers were always looking for some exotic sound, and I trained myself to be able to read music on these instruments. A lot of these are especially for these instruments, it's a different system of notation.
Right.
And so I had to adapt and learn different ways that I can read them, because they would if I would be called to do a jingle, and I remember one time I had to do a jingle for Coke, and it was right after the film My Big Fat Greek Wedding. They were doing a Greek campaign, and they wanted me to play a Greek instrument. So I have the bouzouki, which I have somewhere back there. Here it is. Here's a bouzouki. So as you can see, a lot of similarities with this. The bouzouki. This is also out of tune right now because I'm not. And so I started to learn, instruments that I can play and read on. Also, because I was trained also in mandolin, and the Italian mandolin also is related to all these instruments here. I think most people are familiar with the mandolin. This is the Italian mandolin. This is more of the traditional mandolin. This one is actually from the 1800s. So some of the history of some of these instruments that go back to the oud, which I also have, an Arabic oud. Which is this instrument right here. I might have played this for you last time.
Yes, absolutely. It was fantastic.
And everything actually started with this instrument when it was brought to Europe around the 8th century. So from that, then we had these instruments as well as the guitar. And I would say that the instrument that came after the lute, the oud, was the lute, the Renaissance and medieval lute, which is very popular in Europe. And the mandolin derived from the lute. So it was like a smaller version of it. So they're all, I just started to get very involved in the history also of these instruments. So I think that had a lot of effect on the style of music that I just came naturally to me to try to first learn the traditional music on these instruments, how they were played and how they were played, and then write my own music based on the sounds of these instruments. And they blend really well, not only in the traditional music, but also in, contemporary settings.
Yeah.
So that's the things that I'd be very fascinated with.
We have more you want to show us there in your little toy chest? And for those just joining us, he's going to play live for us as well. Got a lot of cool things coming up for you guys on this episode of the Jim Masters Show.
Okay, this is my charango.
Ah.
Now here's the other evolution.
Yeah.
See, one of my dreams is to create an instrument that's just kind of like crossing different periods of time. Just so I could join these two instruments together, and play a combination of interchangeable cultures in music.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so the charango,
Yeah.
the Latin American instruments also have a very fascinating history because they also have to do with coming from Europe, and there were like so new versions of instruments were created in the New World here, and you find many of these hybrid instruments in Latin America in your travels. So this comes from the mountains of the Andes. This one is from Ecuador, or Bolivia. Sorry, it's from Bolivia, but it's played in Ecuador and Bolivia, parts of Chile, and Peru. It's the music of the Andes.
Very cool, huh?
Yeah, it's such a great sound. So it's got a beautiful. Traditionally, this was made from the back of an armadillo, which sounds very terrible, but that's all they had. That was the when these instruments were brought by the Spanish and the Portuguese in Latin America, and they brought them from Europe, and the indigenous people from these countries. They didn't have the access to of making them, so they created their own versions of them. And the mandolin had a big influence as well. The mandolin and the guitar. So I have some other instruments. I don't know. They're around. They're from Puerto Rico, the cuatro, from Brazil. Special guitars that are made from the Amazon. And I've used them all in soundtracks and film scores.
Yeah, I mentioned, your work in film and television and stage and so much more, and even, instructing Jennifer Beals and the children of Philip Glass and Paul Simon as a private teacher. Very exciting things that I don't think our audience even knew.
Yeah, I think because I was kind of like specializing in, or just I was, because of the interest in these unique instruments, especially in that time, bringing them forward, and there was an attraction towards these unusual instruments, and I think with Jennifer Beals, she wanted to learn the mandolin for a role she was playing in a film called The Round Table and Mrs. Parker,
right?
About Dorothy Parker.
Mm-hmm.
So she used to come to my house and take mandolin lessons for that scene. And it started from a documentary film that I was working on, and which did very well. It was actually nominated for an Academy Award. It was the documentary film called Children of Fate.
Oh yeah, sure.
And that was that film. Oh, they had asked me to use mandolin in it. They wanted the real authentic sound for the mandolin. And
that is cool. Huh?
Yeah.
To be a part of something like that.
Yeah, it's like one thing's just led to another. And then, also, with my Italian group, for many years, we were playing the traditional Southern Italian music and theater in the theaters of New York City, like starting out at New York University. And then, we started to get a lot of recognition, and, we played at Carnegie Hall, and, but it was very unique music because it was based on traditional music. And then I started composing music in that tradition, and then writing music for the Stabat Mater, which was, the text was written in the 11th century. And we did it over at we were artists in residence at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine for many years. And they had commissioned me to write the score for a Stabat Mater, which is traditionally done around Easter time.
Mm-hmm.
And,
so fantastic.
Very unique things that I would have never imagined. I mean, yeah.
You've been doing this for 4 decades. Could you imagine?
Tell me about it. Where's the time gone?
I was going to
You-
say, and and we, doing our digging and due diligence here on the Jim Master Show Live, we have evidence of some of that. Who's this fine gentleman in our photo here?
you know, do you know what that is? Well, I'm sure
Yeah.
you know where it is, but
You tell us, yeah.
okay, so that is the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
That's right.
At a time, I don't know if it's, I think it's, I don't know if they've opened it, because in the 70s when I was living in Italy, it was still open to the public, and you just took your chances on going up there if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, go ahead. You want to go up?
It's leaning.
And so of course, I never traveled without my guitar. It was attached to me, and everywhere I went. And in those days, they didn't have those soft cases where you could just swing on your back like a backpack.
No, they were like really
No,
heavy duty.
those heavy duty wooden cases.
Yes.
Backbreaking.
Backbreaking.
So I always carried that wherever I went, and that was probably in the like summertime, and I'm going up there. Oh, that's a fun photograph of my friends in Puglia.
Yeah.
Down in southern Italy. That was my first trip in Taranto. And I'm there with my friends, Gianni Castellana. Oh, wow.
Yeah, huh?
That was in 1977. That was here in New York. Now, my experiences in Italy is that it opened up a whole new chapter of my life, because I met those guys that you can see. We started a group in Florence called Pupi e Fresette. And we were discovered by Peter Schumann of the Bread and Puppet Theater.
Wow.
And he wanted us to come to America.
Yeah.
And he wanted to write a show based on this traditional folk music. Now, in the 1970s, there was a big revival of folk music, just as it had happened here in the United States. They were reviving traditional Southern Italian folk music. And these are my friends. We all wound up living together. We're still in touch with each other 40-something years later. And this is a concert at the Washington Square Church.
Wow.
It was called the Ballad of Masaniello, the 14 Days of Masaniello. And I'm here in the background. I don't know if I can see. That's me. Can you see this pointer? No, I don't think you can.
Yeah, you behind the guy that's holding the guitar in the lower right.
Yes, that's Giuseppe De Vittorio. Pino De Vittorio is a fantastic singer.
Yes.
Very well known in Italy.
Yeah.
That was wow, you're really going into the archives.
We did our research. Yes, absolutely.
Wow. Yes, that's in my days around Woodstock. I had been to Woodstock, believe it or not. I was embarrassed to tell my students that I was at Woodstock, because
you were doing research.
Yeah. That was at Woodstock. Well, that was after Woodstock, or before, either before or after. And I just figured,
the expression, it could have been before, during, or after.
Yeah, right. I know. That was really some, incredible time. Oh, there's Jimmy Roselli.
Yeah, huh?
Beautiful soul.
What was it like, playing for him in that way? An honor.
It was great. It was great. We had been working. I was working on a film with with a film company from Rome.
Yeah.
And they contacted me because they wanted to do some filming on the history of the Neapolitan song.
Yeah.
And they have what made the Neapolitan song famous around the world, like O Sole Mio and all those songs, was Caruso, who lived in New York.
Yeah.
He lived in the Ansonia Hotel. And so there was a lot of filming to do here in New York City, and I was kind of their research assistant. And I told them about Jimmy Roselli, and they said, you have to have Jimmy Roselli in this film, because he is the legacy. Like, he carried that tradition on.
Yeah.
And so we went to his house and we spent the day with him. And I had suggested that we go to Arturo's restaurant.
Good choice.
Arturo's down on Houston Street in Sullivan, or No, it's not Sullivan. It's Prince Street, I think, or Spring Street. Spring Street, I think. I'm not. I don't know. I can't remember. I haven't been in the city because in a while. So we filmed that, and we took a break, and then wound up in the film actually. That little scene where we went to Arturo's and we ordered a pizza, and then
cool.
he sang Mala Femina, which is
fantastic.
one of his big classics.
Absolutely. There's another great shot.
A lot of fun. There's Dominic Chianese, and Andy. We were.
It's an honor too, huh?
That was Dominic and I met at the Friars Club.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Andy Schwartz, he's the vice president of recording of the union, and we were guitar buddies at the Hartt School of Music.
Mm-hmm.
And he wound up being a very important position at the local 802. And we went for lunch, and Dominic was a member of 802. Before he was into acting, he was a musician.
That's right.
And he still is. We collaborated together, and we worked on an album together, which still has to be released. I haven't really released it yet. I have it on my website, but we haven't really done an official thing. And with Dominic, we did some beautiful some beautiful songs you wouldn't expect him to sing.
Yeah,
like Bob Dylan, and he was really into the folk scene. In the 50s. When that was really lively. There's Dominic, and he's coming back to New York. He's living in London right now. He's, I think, 92 years old. God bless him. He's strong, and he's very ready to go. And that's Carlo Alonso. That was from a tour that Carlo is probably one of the most well-known virtuoso mandolinists in Italy, from Savona up near Genoa. And we did a tour together. Oh, that's from When in Rome.
Yeah, there you are on the left.
There I am. I was contracted to do that. And
that's Josh Duhamel, isn't it?
Yes, Josh Duhamel. And you remember the actress?
Who is that? Yeah, she looks so familiar.
Yeah, no, I can't remember. Maybe somebody in the audience will remember.
It'll come to them. Yeah.
Yes, the film is called When in Rome. That's from the studios. You can see some of my instruments.
Yes.
That's at Teaneck Sounds and Teaneck Studio here in Teaneck.
There's some more. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you can see. Okay, so basically that's part of the my artillery right there. You can see the viola da coscia all the way on the left. That odd looking. I played that last time.
Yes.
That's from the Amazon.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's from
not the online Amazon. This is the real.
Oh
Amazon.
yeah,
the real Amazon.
Yes, it's from right in the interior. It's called Mato Grosso. Viola da coscia is the correct name of it, and it's made out of what cows eat out of, trough.
Trough, right?
And you notice there's no sound hole in that instrument, because there are snakes and spiders can get in.
That's right.
And bite your hand.
Yes, all of a sudden you're plucking away and boom.
Which actually, there is a tradition in Brazil that in order to be a good violero, a violero is like a guitar player, you have to make a pact with the snake. If the snake bites you and you die, that meant you weren't a good player.
That means you were not good.
So the legend has it. Oh, there's the album. It's called I'm a Typical New Yorker. I made all the arrangements. Dominic would come to my house and we'd just sit around my dining room table and he'd sing me some songs. And then, I just put all those different kinds of instruments on there, different sounds.
Yeah.
It's a really great album with capturing Dominic, like really beautiful.
You
you know. So,
also were involved in the Bounty Hunter movie too,
oh
right?
yeah, yeah, the Bounty Hunter.
I mean, movies and just working with so many incredible people. Tell us about what was that like, and some of the again getting involved in some of the movie music and scoring as well, John.
Yeah, I had been doing some of these these films that, you know, which I got through the union. They would call me, and you know, was having, you know, playing in the films like When in Rome, and so I got a call to do this film here, The Bounty Hunter, with Jennifer Aniston, um, and so all of a sudden when I was doing that film, a few days before, I got a call from Sony, because it was Sony Pictures. Sony, the vice president of Sony called me out of the blue, and he asked me if I knew the music. He knew I was a guitar player, obviously, and he asked me if I knew the cavatina from the Deer Hunter,
Mm-hmm.
and I said yes, I do. And he said
Which
that
is a beautiful song.
yeah, it's a beautiful guitar piece, which I
Mhm.
loved. And that made me realize, you know, the importance of the use of the guitar in the film score, you know, which really was very influential for me. So I said I did, and then he said that they would like for me to create a piece similar to that for a scene in the film. And it was actually a scene where I was supposed to be, where I'm in the film itself as the cocktail guitarist, and what I was playing was my own music.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and the funny thing about it was that I I recorded it right on location, like
Yeah.
in a van.
If people only knew the stuff that
The
really goes
morning,
on behind the scenes to make all this magic.
it's crazy because, you know, and the thing was, I wrote like two or three different versions of the piece that I wanted to, because I didn't know what the scene was. I mean, I didn't really know how long it was going to be, so I wrote like two or three different versions of a piece, and I had them. So I went. The director said, "Well, you could record it in with our sound crew," and it was the middle of the summer. It was up in Nyack,
New York, yeah.
um, and so they said, "Go to the van, and then we'll record you in the van." Meanwhile, it was like 90 degrees out. It's so hot, and my fingers are sweating, and I'm in the back seat of a van, and they had the boom mics, you know, and my fingers are sweating, and I'm like playing this music, and you know, so I recorded them all, and then they played it for the director, and he liked them, and so he chose one, and so they they played that during they played that during the filming, but I was only miming it. I wasn't actually playing it. They played what I had recorded for that scene.
Very cool, huh?
Yeah, it's crazy. It was like, you know, who would expect something like that?
Like that.
You know,
Speaking of playing, did you want to play something for the audience now? Treat us to something?
I can if you would like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What'd you have in mind?
Let me see. Let me get my guitar. I don't know until I pick up the guitar in my hand.
Exactly right. Exactly. You get a certain vibe, a certain feel, and then it just comes to you, which is pure magic. Looking for the snake inside?
Yeah, I don't. This is that time in Brazil. I never trust it.
Up north, probably a mouse.
Yeah, right.
Tell us about that guitar.
Oh, this guitar. Okay, this I recently purchased this one. This guitar is actually it's called a trans acoustic, which means that it could be played. It has a built-in amplifier. So I could play it with right now I do have it connected because I'm going through the sound source. But it's a classical guitar that has this built-in resonator in it as well. This is a piece that I just wrote.
Yeah.
I just recently did this piece. It's called the Chariots Wheel.
Oh, fantastic. Was it for a specific project that you wrote it for?
No, but it wound up being in a project. I work with a very lovely dance troupe called the Art of Motion in
Yes.
Ridgewood, New Jersey.
Yes.
And we've collaborated several times. And I work with two lovely dancers in this piece. They choreographed it.
Terrific.
And it was a beautiful show. We just recently did it. Was right before, let's see, it was in the end of November, December, and it was just just a piece that I had just composed. So I'll play a little bit of it. It's called, I don't know where the name came from. I just felt like something.
It just came to you, huh?
The Chariots Wheel. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Here it is.
There it is. The incomparable John T. La Barbera on the Jim Masters Show Live. That is beautiful.
There
That
you have
is,
it.
yeah. When did you just created that now during the pandemic?
Yeah, just a couple of months ago.
That's it, huh? That's an absolutely beautiful piece.
Thank you. Thank you. The Chariots Wheel. Yeah.
What were you envisioning when you wrote that? Are you, when you create the music, I would imagine you're visual too.
Yeah, the reason why I think a lot of it has to do with the rhythm of the piece, because it's in a 6/8, but that 1 2 3 4 5 6, and that continual motion of it, kind of found me like a swirling. I was looking at some visuals, because the way when I came up with the idea, I was trying to I was searching for some visuals of like nature. And there was a couple of scenes that I saw of just like it was like must have been taken from a drone
Right.
of the sea crashing against the rocks.
Yeah.
Like the movement of the
Drone swooping in slow.
yeah, that's so that kind of swirling motion, kind of like started me into it. And then that movement, then I thought of, a wheel, the turning of a wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And I always like to relate things to, historical connection. Hey, that's my brother, Dennis.
Hey, Dennis, welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live. Nice to see him here. That's cool.
He was with me at the World's Fair in 1964-65.
He was.
Yeah, the
Wow.
Fugitives.
Built by Robert Moses, who built a lot of
Yes.
New York City, right? All the parkways on Long Island and Throgs Neck Bridge and Whitestone Bridge and Triborough Bridge and the World's
Yeah,
Fair.
you name it.
Yeah, the master builder, Robert Moses. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that, and then we went to the now we don't remember how we got that gig for the World's Fair. But somehow it was at the New York State Pavilion, which is still up, it's still
Which
there.
is still there, yeah.
And I remember that we had it was a rainy day, and somehow my whole family turned up.
In
It was like a
support.
big thing. My nieces, my aunts, everybody, like that was the whole big thing. There was a big event.
It
I
was
was
all in
14,
support. Yeah.
and that was
That
we were living in Queens then,
Yeah.
so we would it was great.
It was right there.
It was
Yeah.
right there, right there.
Yeah. And they had just built Shea Stadium as
Shea
well.
Stadium was new. The Mets,
Mhm.
it was a very big,
Big
and
time.
I still remember one of the best things I got out of that World's Fair was that the Parker Pen Pavilion. The Parker Pen Pavilion. The pen was still a very important object.
Are they still around? Are Parker pens still around?
That's a good question. Somebody should do
Yeah.
research
I
on that.
haven't seen Parker. That's what we used in school. If it wasn't Bic, it was Parker.
Yeah, of course, the Parker
Yeah.
Pen, and they had their own pavilion at the World's Fair.
Yeah, the world of tomorrow, what tomorrow
The
could be
great,
like.
big, beautiful tomorrow.
We're all going to be like in episodes of the Jetsons.
Yeah, driving around in our cars in the
With
sky.
robots and yeah.
The Parker Pen Pavilion though had, you could get a pen pal.
I had one when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Where were they from?
France, Montmorency, France. Her name was
Wow.
Patricia Porte. And I used to watch this TV show, this kid show called The Big Blue Marble. And at the end, they said you could write for a pen pal. And I said, you know what? Again, at the same time, I was also collecting Hot Wheels, baseball cards, Matchbox
Yes,
cars,
of course.
stamps, coins,
Oh, you name it.
butterflies in the jar, all that stuff.
Yes.
And the pen pal. And yeah, we wrote for many, many years. As a matter of fact, I still have all the letters and photos and
Oh,
everything.
wow.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
That was a big thing. Having a pen pal.
That was before email.
That's right. And I used to I was so excited. My pen pal was in Amsterdam,
Very
in
nice.
Holland.
Very nice.
Raoul Zenik. I still remember the name.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how we remember these names?
Yeah, I know. That was the first, and I felt so. That's when I started to really want to travel. I think that really sparked the interest to think of being in another, a totally another
different culture, different
different culture, and it was so fascinating. I think also because where we grew up, I lived in Queens, and we were
part
very
of Queens.
Lefferts Boulevard, the last stop on the A train.
So is that Flushing?
It's Ozone Park.
Ozone Park, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Richmond Hill, Ozone Park, South Ozone Park.
Yeah.
And we lived on the route that took you to the airport. Because it's like when the A train, the last stop on the A train is Lefferts Boulevard. And we lived like one block south of the A train, because my father could get to work. He could just walk to the corner.
And then it's right there.
Got into the city, so that was like the country for us.
That was the country. Absolutely.
So, being close to the airport, we used to go to the airport to just that was something to do. You just used to go to the airport.
Did you climb the side of the Hellgate Bridge? I did.
You did?
And my father let me. He took me
Wow.
back. He took me back to Astoria after we went to a Met game. Said, I want to show you the neighborhood, where they grew up. And the Astoria Park and I was always fascinated with architecture. I studied architecture too and design.
Oh.
And I was always fascinated with bridges. And I just thought the design of the Hellgate Bridge was so fascinating.
Oh, that's very
steel
interesting.
and the cement, and So yeah, it climbed a little bit the side of it. My mother didn't exactly, which wasn't too excited when she found out. What are you doing letting him climb the side of the Hellgate Bridge?
Hey, that's something you got to do.
That's it. They used to swim in the East River with the whirlpools.
Yes, I know. I remember hearing that too when I was a kid. Like my parents'
That's
generation.
why they called it the Hellgate Bridge, because of the whirlpools are very
Did you?
violent there underneath.
Okay, let me ask you something.
The currents.
Did you ever hear the story that there is buried treasure under the Hellgate Bridge from the British?
Yes, from sunken ships and boats and
Sunken ships. That was like there was a shipment. Yes, of they were from the crown. They were paying the troops during the colonial period, and it sunk there. And there's a lot of sunken ships under there with buried treasure.
I know, huh?
But they can't get to it.
Who wants to swim under the Hellgate now?
No,
thank you. No, thank you.
These are very good stories that
Yeah, it's all historic stuff. Absolutely. So do you have another song for us, my friend? That was beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. We love this little mini concert on the Jim Master Show Live. You're so gracious all the
time. Okay. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll play something on the steel string guitar.
Cool. Yes. We'll take a look at that. All he has to do is swivel his chair, folks, and he's got everything right there at his fingertips. And no, folks, in case you're guessing, if you think John is in a huge tent, he's not in a tent. That is his attic where he has all of the equipment. It does look like a teepee or a tent that you're in.
Yeah, I know. It feels like I'm camping out.
Yeah, he's out in the woods. He likes the acoustic of the tent more than the upper bedroom.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Okay.
It's cool. The angular nature of the ceiling is cool. The way the light is hitting it, and you're perfectly centered, there with the equipment. It's just really a cool look.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's what you got there.
I do. Okay, this is a steel string guitar. It's quite large, and it was made by George Loudon, who's an excellent guitar maker from Ireland. I'm trying to remember where in Ireland.
Somewhere between Dublin and Belfast.
Yeah, probably. I thought he had the
between
exact
northern and southern somewhere, right?
But George Loudon is a very incredible guitar maker.
Yeah.
And I learned about this guitar from Pierre Ben Suzanne, who's a French Algerian guitarist that I met in New York years ago. I was playing down at the Speakeasy, which used to be on McDougal Street. And we opened for him. And I noticed his guitar, and I said, that is such an incredible sounding guitar. And he told me about it. And so I looked into it, and I was able to get one of these. The reason why I like this guitar is because I play with my fingers. Use classical technique. A lot of steel string guitars, if they have a narrow neck, I can't get the the spacing to bring out all the individual voices. And so this guitar is made specifically for intricate right hand fingering and this type of technique. So this piece here is called "The Tree of Good Wind." It's a song about a tree, a very mystical tree that was spoken about in legends. Have you ever heard of the Italian liqueur called Strega?
I may have dabbled here and there.
Oh, you should definitely get a bottle of that. Maybe the next time we'll have some Strega.
You have any in the attic there?
Well, no, I ran out.
I mean, I think the trains are still running.
Yeah. Well, if you ever see it, it's called Strega, which, if the word Strega means witch.
Yes.
And if you look at the bottle,
yeah,
this bottle, this company, Strega, the company that makes it has been around since the 1800s. And Italians like to bring out the bottle of Strega after usually like a holiday meal. They start passing around. It's kind of like the Venetian hour at a wedding. They bring out all the different liqueurs. And so usually a bottle of Strega is on hand. Most Italian Americans have that in their stock. And if you take a look at the label, you'll see a tree, and you'll see these figures dancing around it. And, besides being a great liqueur, I liked very much. When I lived in Italy, I heard about this town called Benevento, and Benevento means good wind. During Roman times, it was called Maleventum, which means bad wind. But because of different turns of events, they changed the name. But in this town, it has a legend of this tree that had magical powers, where witches used to dance at night.
I want to show you how quick we are, my friend.
Did you find something on? There you go. There you go.
The glasses are poured. Grab yours.
Oh, it's delicious. It's all made from herbs. Well, maybe we should have them as a sponsor.
I was going to say, Strega, give us a call.
Strega? This is it. This is your music.
Time for some sponsors to sponsor all this hard work at the Jim Master Show Live.
And that liquore, that Strega, is from this town called Benevento.
Very nice.
And so this is the piece that if you had a glass of Strega right now, I suggest have a little sip, and I'll play the dance of the tree of good wind.
All right.
Here you go. So you can imagine this wind and these witches that are dancing around the tree.
With the glow of the Strega kicking in about now.
Yes, sir. Here we go.
There he is, John La Barbera.
Oh, make sure I'm in. Okay.
Really nice. That is beautiful, huh?
Thank you.
God, that is really, really beautiful. When you're playing that, what happens to you? Are you transported to another time and place when you're playing?
I'd have to say, let me see. It's hard to explain it. I kind of go into a trance.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's like, I think after a while, I like to just enjoy being myself as a listener as well.
Right.
Listening to it and really try to, go along with it. One of the things I think in performing that I like about being a performer and playing music live is that I always felt it's like an infinity sign. It's like a figure 8. So you send out energy, and then it comes back to you from the, so it's a flow, and it's just trying to, achieve that each time you're performing. I
like that analogy. I like the sort of visualizing that energy, huh?
Yeah. It's like when it's kind of because we react. And when you're performing, you're picking up also the energy from the room. Yourself. You do this. When you're in front of a stage, right? You have to pick up the stage, the feeling, the spontaneous. I mean, you can have a certain amount of it, like an outline of what you're going to do, but then you're feeding off the energy, and every time you're performing, it's always going to be different.
So you tailor it.
Yeah, and as I was saying that, I was remembering that idea from when I lived in Italy. I wound up with that troupe, that picture that you saw of that troupe from Italy. we used to do Commedia dell'arte. Oh, there's my friend Barbara Rest. She says,
Hello, Barbara.
wonderful.
Welcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody that's commenting, all the lovedies and everybody.
So when I lived in Italy, we did Commedia dell'arte, which is the traditional style of comedy from the Renaissance, with the characters, in masks.
Yeah, sure.
And if it was based on. They used to do a thing where they would go out on stage and improvise. They would have the main idea of the story, right, and then before they went on stage, they had a little they wrote out on the wings of the stage, because they used to have everything was like set up, and they would have like on the wings before they went out, they would have the idea of that scene, what was it all about and what you were supposed to do. Exactly. So you would quickly look that over, and then jump out on the stage, and then you would improvise based on what you saw in the wings. You know what that was all about? That was all about that was where the word winging it comes from.
That's it.
That's what it means. I'm winging it means you okay.
Yeah.
Like you got the idea.
Yeah.
Right before you go out on stage, and then you get on stage and you're basing it off of that.
You're making the magic as it's happening.
And that's it. So you're winging it.
Yeah. Been there, done that multiple times.
Yes, I know. And that's,
there's some of my most favorite moments is when you're thrown out there and you have to ad lib and wing it.
Yes.
Yeah. Some of my favorite moments. And you and I have done that collectively oftentimes, and we've done it with hats.
Oh, yes. That's our hat phase. I love that. Now, you were wearing the bowler.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. Yeah, we're both.
I remember that night. It was a very cold night. It was very windy.
Very cold. Yes, I think Jennifer took that picture.
That was at the that place in Chelsea, I think.
Yes, in New York. Yes, Chelsea, and we were just, we
had a nice event.
We're hat collectors, you and I.
I wound up. I know why, because we went to my car, and I had a few hats in the back seat. Because I never know, like I'm going to go out and I'm not sure what kind of hat I'm going to need, so I threw a couple of hats in the back seat.
There you go. Right, we were talking.
And then I said, "Hey, Jim."
We got on the conversation of hats, which was very, very cool.
Yeah, and who knew that we both had this like love for hats?
Our hats. That was at Cafe Allegra restaurant in Madison, Connecticut.
Yes, I remember that place.
Yeah, that was.
Wow!
Here we are.
Oh God!
Where, with our very important looks here.
That's it. We look very dignified.
And then when we said we were going to split the bill, and you said you weren't going to.
That's when everything blew up. Well, the funny thing is,
I'm still smiling while I'm doing that.
I know. Yeah, but we were having fun no matter what.
Yeah. And the group,
yes.
Of course, Chef Silvio, who we
love. What was the name of that restaurant?
Cafe Allegra. Yeah.
Cafe Allegra.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was really a lot of fun. And even when I was doing Santa Claus and you were there, and that's me as Santa Claus gang, yes, with John. And this was
that's with the instruments.
World of Strings concert. Remember?
That was World on a String, yes, which you hosted for us.
Yes. I think your mic when you're speaking is a little hot. So you might there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Maybe tilt it a little bit more. Just back off it a little bit, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better.
Is that better?
Yeah. There we go. Look at that gang.
Yes, that was at the
same thing. I think. Yeah.
Now that's the lute and the oud. Remember, I just put in your hands.
I thought the lute was the stuff that was in that black luggage behind the instruments.
Yeah, right. That's where they stashed all the loot.
The loot.
Yeah.
That's a cool shot.
That was a wonderful concert.
Wasn't it? Really?
We'd have to
Yes.
try to reconstruct that again.
And the gang there, and my mother's in that shot next to you.
Yeah, that's right.
My mom came to visit.
Oh yeah,
I was
wonderful woman.
I was emceeing. Yeah, she is, and she says hello and she gives you her love.
I'll send her my regards.
They're in Florida, of course, warm and sunny Florida, where we were for Christmas, and I was swimming in the 85-degree ocean. Why did I come back north?
Ah, I know. That's my brother just went down. He's down there now.
Yes,
Got
and
away from this cold.
she came to that concert in New Jersey, and I was emceeing for
And
you.
Sandy
Actually,
Cricken, Professor Cricken is there.
yeah, and that's a whole other thing. You are a lecturer, you're a professor, teacher. I mean, tell us about that aspect too. As much as you are a renowned guitar virtuoso, a composer, so much more, a world traveler, you are a professor as well.
Yeah, well, I've always loved teaching. I think one of the natural things that I started to do was even during my undergraduate years, I started to teach up in Hartford when I was still a student at the Hartt School of Music,
Yeah.
and then I became an adjunct professor as soon as I graduated. And I always loved teaching
Mm-hmm.
as well as performing.
Yeah.
But my main interest was being a performer.
Yeah.
And so I thought, probably the best thing for me to keep to be able to teach is about my experiences in music, and that's helped me also to develop teaching and with wonderful students, and being at the Bergen Community College for these years,
Yeah.
almost 20 years there.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, I've had wonderful students, and it's we have a really great music department. It's very creative, and wonderful faculty,
Mm.
and the wonderful Chacon Theater,
Yes. Right.
which
Yeah.
we have to bring you back, and we have
Yeah,
to do a live show.
do a live show on location there.
Yeah,
Yes.
we have to do that, the World on a String again,
That's right.
and I can
Yes.
hand you more instruments.
And will we wing it?
Yes,
Will it
we will wing it.
World on a shoestring?
World. Yeah, we did World on a String, and now Crazy World on a String.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we've done a lot of things together. The National Arts Club in New York, and we got
That
into
was
a
the National Arts.
whole conversation about Waldo de los Rios and
Right.
that fabulous orchestra and so much more. In addition to being an extraordinary, musician and composer and professor and all of these things, I heard that you're pretty nifty in the kitchen too.
Oh wow! Yes.
Tell
There
us.
you go. That is
We have a
my.
foodie crowd here. This is a crowd that we've done 2-hour lovely food episodes on the Jim Master Show live.
Oh really? Well, I love cooking.
So look at that. What do we got there?
That is called a farinata. Farinata is made from chickpea flour.
Oh, I love chickpea. Yeah.
It's it's a dish that is very popular in the north of Italy,
Yes.
near Savona, near
Yes.
Genoa,
Yes.
on the Ligurian coast.
Yes.
And I started, finding the recipes for this. And then when I was with Carlo, who you saw in the picture there, the mandolinist we toured, little did I know that that's a specialty from his town.
Mm.
And it's kind of like it's almost like the pizza, the local pizza that you
Yeah.
could see, and you can make it with different toppings. And it's quite simple. I could give you the recipe if you're interested.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Well, you just kind of have to get chickpea flour,
Yeah.
water, a couple of drops of olive oil, and I throw in some. If you see there, it's fresh rosemary from my garden,
Mm-hmm.
and you put that in, and then you just you whisk it up, and you keep it there for about 6 hours in a bowl. You got to keep turning it, and then you let it sit for a few hours, and then you put it in a skillet. I use like a flat iron.
Mm.
And hot flat iron, and you put like a drop of olive oil in it.
Flat iron, wow.
And then they use these bronze pans in Savona.
Yes.
In a special oven, and it's usually the way with the bronze does something to it in the cooking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then you bake it for about half hour. Then it comes out like that. It's really great, and you could.
It looks delicious.
It's really great. It's very light, and the chickpea flour is very delicious. It's great just having that with a glass of wine, or you could put other things on top. Oh, those are the zucchini flowers, also from the garden. You know what's strange is because we didn't have much zucchinis, but we had the flowers every morning.
Mm-hmm.
And you could use the zucchini flour. And all I did was just I made a batter just with, it's all vegan. I didn't use any egg. It's great with Strager, as my brother said.
Yes.
I just whisk in some flour and water, and I grate pecorino romano, or if you like parmigiano, Parmesan cheese. You grate that in the batter, and you just put them in. You drench them in that batter, and then I put them in the cast iron, and then I throw in some capers.
Very nice.
And some fresh parsley or fresh oregano if you have.
Yeah.
And you just eat them. You can eat them so fast. It's so good. It's very simple.
That looks so good.
Yeah, that's another very simple treat that also goes good with Strega.
Very nice. You have another song you want to share while we're here?
Okay.
Now that everybody's starving, hearing those recipes.
Oh, yes.
Music to dream about food with on the Jim Master Show Live.
You know, I used to.
What was that? Did you get electrocuted there? That was like a cartoon sound. Batman.
I know. I just had to do that. You know, years ago, I used to play in a restaurant. You know, just to make some extra money down in the city on 71st Street and Amsterdam Avenue. There was a great Mexican restaurant called Los Panchos. And I used to go in there. I used to play like 2 or 3 nights a week. And I used to think, you know, I'd be sitting there and I'd be playing, you know, I played whatever I really wanted to, but it was mostly like Spanish, a lot of Spanish classical music. I love Spanish classical guitar. And then I also played traditional Mexican songs on the guitar, all instrumental. And there used to be this couple that used to come to the bar. They used to hang out. And every now and then they would come over to me and say, could you play that song? I used to play this piece called Asturias. It's a very famous classical Spanish guitar piece. I know. So, and they would always give me like a really great tip if I played that song. So I wound up playing it all the time. It turned out that that couple, that was a very famous film actor. His name was Milo O'Shea. You might remember him. He was in a lot of films.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember him, Milo O'Shea? He was in what was it, Love Story and Romeo and Juliet and all these classical things. He was an Irish actor. He lived in New York at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I used to play, you know, in restaurants and like just background music. But the thing about that gig was that I was working there playing, and at the same time I was practicing. So it was a great experience to be able to do that. I felt like I was, you know, still, you know, developing my hand, keeping my hands going and playing music, and people are enjoying it. And, you know, so food and music definitely is very important.
Goes very well.
Yeah, so that's why I feel very close to cooking and food. Um, and also, I discovered that Rossini was a great chef.
Hmm.
So there's always this connection between food and music. So
Absolutely. And good healing vibes, which we all need. What are you going to play for us now, my friend?
can you hear that?
Oh, yes, we can. It sounds beautiful.
Okay. This is a piece that's based on I don't know, I call it Liberdad. Has kind of like Spanish flamenco, a little bit of both, classical blend of stuff that I was writing. So
You were winging it?
Yes, I was winging it. So this is called Liberdad, which means freedom.
Very nice. Once again, John T. La Barbera here on the Jim Master Show Live. Hope you guys are enjoying yourself. Leave a comment live or on our YouTube channel and give this episode a thumbs up on the YouTube channel. And here's John. That's really fantastic. That is really, really
Thank
beautiful,
you.
my friend. And you're playing that on?
That's on classical guitar.
That's on the classical guitar. Yeah.
Yeah, the
That is
classical
beautiful.
guitar.
Such a beautiful sound, huh?
Thank you.
Very crisp and very rich. A lot of comments coming in. Thanks everybody who's making all the comments. What are you thinking about as you're playing that? Where does that take you?
That one is like kind of, like a lot of the influences. I always loved flamenco guitar. And I studied some flamenco guitar. I got a lot of influence on that style, but tried to create it with my influences as well. So not being a purist in flamenco, which is such a beautiful art form in itself. I try to create that mood, that's the same mood. I used to love to go to listen to flamenco music. There used to be a lot of flamenco music in the city years ago, like around in the 14th Street area downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And some wonderful flamenco Spanish guitarists that I've always admired, Sabicas and Paco de Lucia, and they're very big influences.
We have a request here.
Yeah. The English suite, Opus 31. My brother knows my repertoire.
What do you think?
Well,
like
I would love to play that piece, but
you need a full orchestra with you, right?
Yeah, no, I need it. I played that piece for my senior recital.
Did you really?
Yes, I played.
That was the piece you picked. Wow.
Yeah,
great one to pick.
I haven't played that piece in many years, and I love that piece. It's a beautiful piece by a British composer, John Duarte.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that music, but I haven't played it for so long. I used to play it all the time.
Yeah.
That was one of the things, like being trained as a classical guitarist was, you spend, hours and hours, like, perfecting the sound and your tone and the technical strength to play these pieces.
Yes.
And when you're playing like that, everything is from memory.
Yeah, right.
But then I wanted to move on and learn new pieces, and so so there's a certain amount of repertoire that I practice, pieces that I played maybe 40 years ago that I still play, that are in my mind, even though I haven't played them in maybe 20 years.
Right, exactly. I want to let the audience know too, you've written fabulous books too, as well.
Yeah.
Tell us about this for people who might be searching for these kinds of things.
Yes, this is my first book put out by Mel Bay Publishing. Mel Bay Publishing Company. It's distributed worldwide. It's the largest string publisher in the world. And in fact, I started out with the Mel Bay books when I was a kid. Almost every guitar player, when they first start, they get a Mel Bay book. So I proposed to them a book on the mandolin of traditional Southern Italian music that I had started to transcribe when I lived in Italy. The group that you saw me playing in that photograph, they taught me hundreds and hundreds of songs, and I none of them were written down. I learned by oral tradition. They just sang it to me, and I learned it. That's how that music was carried on for centuries.
Yeah.
And so I learned so many pieces of music that I started a collection on my own. I just pencil and a piece of music paper, manuscript paper, I would write down, and so I would remember them. And then when I came back to America, when I started the group with Alessandra Belloni, we started to do concerts of this music, and I had to train musicians here in New York how to play it. So I would make out arrangements, and I started making arrangements for them. And so over the years, I had so many songs, and then I would always have to look for them And I said, I want to do a fake book on Italian folk music. So you could just like look through the index. Oh, turn to page 43 instead of. So then I got the idea. Let me see what happens if I try to publish it. And I approached Mel Bay, and they thought it was a great idea. And so they gave me the opportunity to publish this book. It's got about, let me see how many tunes are in that book. I think there's about 50 tunes in there.
Wow.
With historical information for each song. Tells you a little bit the background on the song, where it comes from, and the meaning of it. And cool. I transcribed it from mandolin because the mandolin, the Italian mandolin, is a very influential instrument. And there were no books on Italian mandolin. I did research, and there was no books on it.
Nothing on it.
And that's why they fully accepted it. So that was my first book, and then I did a second book. Now this one is from the north to the south. So Italian folk music from northern Italy, from Venice, from the Piemonte region, Rome, Tuscany, from all different parts of Italy. And, the music is so varied in Italy, from the north to the south. And from one town to the next, it's a different style. So, so they're really great books. There's a digital audio thing that you could listen to it.
Is the mandolin one of your personal favorites?
Yes.
Yeah. That's your go-to?
Yes.
Yeah.
I started learning the mandolin so when I was hitchhiking, I could throw it in my backpack.
So it's more about convenience.
Yeah, that was it. I needed,
practicality.
As long as my fingers were moving, I needed something to keep playing.
Exactly. Practicality.
So the mandolin, I could put in my backpack and hitchhike across Canada, wherever I was.
We talked about that, which is really, congratulations on all of that too.
Yeah, that's all up on
all these new things.
Bandcamp.
We were talking about these earlier. Yeah. I mean, that's really.
You could play some of the tracks. I mean, the tracks, what's nice about it is that what I am doing that as the idea of the album just came to me just recently, because I have these pieces, that I wrote for these film scores, and they're all on one long from beginning to the end.
Right.
And I wasn't really thinking of, turning it into an album, because I was concentrating on just having it performed, with the film.
Mm-hmm.
But then I realized that, if I had to edit it so that, in between the different scenes in the film, there are pauses when, at the end of the scene, the scene would change, just in today's films. And I made it into different tracks. That's
You love what you do, my friend, don't you? You love what you do. I know you're living your bliss. I mean, I've been there. I've seen you doing your thing, and you not only play it, learn about it, live it, breathe it, you teach it. You are so immersed in string instruments but also music in general. It really, it speaks to your heart and soul pretty deeply, doesn't it, John?
Oh yeah. I mean, I, just, have used this music. Just, it was all about evolving this music, on my own personal path. It's kind of like continuing it. And it's really has taken me to a lot of different places.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the Chitarra Battente, I didn't play anything on that. I could do something very fast on that if you like.
Absolutely. That would be great. And we have this too we wanted to show. Tell us about what this was. That was cool, huh?
Yes, that is a beautiful film.
You were a part of that as well.
Yes, that was actually the first film score that I started to present live, and made the debut at New York University at the Casa Italiana. I had proposed it to them, and they were very excited about it. And then I realized, I'd like to present this. This film was made in 1915, and she was one of the first women directors of film. There were two very important female movie directors, was Francesca Bertini and Elvira. notari, and I was able to score both of their films.
Mm,
And that one is for violin and guitar.
very beautiful. Really amazing.
Yeah,
Cool
it's
stuff.
inspirational for me because,
Yeah.
you know, one of the things that I always like to do is like create music that tells a story. And, you know, that's one of the ways that, you know, especially with film, with dance, and with theater. So let me play you something.
Absolutely. He just swivels back, reaches over, and then brings another friend front and center.
Yeah.
Tell us
So
again what you're holding there.
This is the chitarra battente. This was made for me in 1978 by Vincenzo De Bonis. This wood that you see here is walnut, noce they call it, and the trees were from his land, Vincenzo De Bonis's land, and everything, even the tools that he used to make this, and it's made according to the same specifications that have been in his family since the 1600s. And even the tuning pegs. This is the traditional tuning pegs before the modern pegs were invented. So you see, each one is. So what it is it has 10 strings, but it's 5 courses. Each course is in unison. And it's called battente because it was used to strum when the idea of strumming became a new novelty in the late Renaissance, being able to strum instead of playing lute style, which is more like this. And it was also influential in the development of the harpsichord, because if you hear what the harpsichord was a mechanical guitar, which sounded something like this. So it was kind of like plucked. Okay, so the battente, it's used a lot for traditional tarantellas. So I'll play a little bit of the tarantella influenced music.
You're a master of what you do. I'm Jim Masters, but you're a master of what you do. Really, it's incredible. Really, it's you know. And you started at age 10?
Somewhere around there.
Wow, huh?
What really got me going was the Beatles, of course.
The Beatles spoke to you, huh?
Yeah, the Beatles, and yeah, and you know, just the accessibility of the guitar.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and back then you could get a guitar for $15.
Yes.
you
Now,
know.
you were at the World's Fair performing in New York City, 64, 65. Did you see the Beatles when they came over?
Oh God, I still remember that day when the Beatles arrived at the airport. It was, I think it was still called Idlewild.
Idlewild was Kennedy Airport. Yes.
Yes, it was Idlewild Airport. I remember the day.
Mm,
And because we lived very close, we were probably about 20 minutes away from the airport.
yes.
And me and my friends, we all wanted to go. It was like on a day we just came out of school or something, and
Hmm.
but we were listening to it on the radio. It was like so attached to the radio. And now the Beatles are landing, and they're walking down they're walking off the tarmac, and it was a continuous report of the Beatles.
It was an unbelievable thing for a music group to get that kind of coverage like that, you know?
Yeah, that was the closest I felt that, closest I got to the Beatles was listening to them on the radio in Queens when they were
Right.
at the airport.
When they were there.
I mean, we could have just driven there, but we didn't drive. We didn't have cars, of course.
Because nothing prior to that really, I think, was as big. Prior would have been Elvis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Really amazing, huh?
Yeah, that's the guitar really, was really like had a really shot of energy because of that whole period of time. The guitar was the instrument that was very accessible, and it was everywhere. I would say the golden era of the guitar was like the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
And especially by the 70s, as far as like classical guitar was also, I was right at the beginning when they started to accept classical guitar as an instrument in conservatories,
Hmm.
because they didn't have it at Juilliard at that time.
No, they didn't. Right.
No,
So
they were
it's
like,
all
so there were
new.
very few schools that offered it as an instrument. So that didn't happen till the actually till like right around 1970. That was and that was when it really took off. And to think that you could get a degree in guitar was like,
Isn't that something?
that was really something. And then that's what I was like, I was going all for it because
Yeah. And you certainly have. Tell us about, again, some of the cool things that are coming up that you're excited about that you've been working on that we can look for.
oh, okay. Yeah, we were supposed to have a premiere in February at the college of the silent film series, but because of COVID, we moved it to April. And it's 3 nights, April 20th, 21st, and 22nd at the Chacon Theater in Paramus, New Jersey, on the campus of Bergen Community College. And I'm doing a 1920 film called Regeneration. And that's a very interesting film that was filmed in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, where a lot of my family grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like it's about this very poor kid. His parents die, and he's left alone to live in an apartment. And you see in that film really like the situation of these families,
Yeah.
that lived in the Lower East Side at that time, Irish and Italian. And and also like they used to send the kids out for beer. The kid would go to the saloon and
Get the beer for dad.
yeah, they would give them a can, and the kid would bring home, and, it makes you different, understand like how, like, wow, how things were so different back
The
then.
times were, yeah.
Yeah, and so he lives with they're very poor. They're living in a tenement, probably, like in the Lower East Side. And he winds up becoming like a gangster, a street kid, and he gets involved with the gangs. But then he goes to a reformation, and his life changes. And so it's like how, he was able to pull himself up. So it was kind of like, he regenerates.
Mm.
It's an interesting film, so I'm in the process of finishing that. So I have that that's coming up.
That's really exciting, huh?
Yeah, and then I'm just trying to do some more recording sessions, hopefully some live recording sessions. I have another album of just instrumental. Some of the pieces that I played tonight will be coming out on another disc. We're just in the process of mixing it.
Very nice.
And then I have a project coming out with Dominic Chianese in the spring. And so, take one step at a time.
And you've got all the students who love you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have my students. We're back on campus for the spring semester, and things are coming back. Hopefully.
Well, I'm glad that you came back.
Yeah.
This is we've known each other for a long time, but this is your second visit on the Jim Masters show, and it was really fantastic. Another epic conversation in a lot of different directions with fantastic music weaved in, great stories, a nice sort of tour of that vaulted attic there and all the great instruments.
Yeah.
And of course, our audience watching live and those who will watch later in our archives entertained by it all and probably learning a few things too about the instruments, about the music, and everything else that goes with it. Really, really cool time, my friend. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I certainly have with you.
Yeah, no, and I love just like how we just lead into all these different topics, related to the music and the world, and and I really like the way you present it. It's really great. It's like being, in person the best we can.
As best we can, right? None of it's scripted.
So this is show what, 675 or something?
I think it's somewhere around there. I know. Where's my gold watch, people?
Yeah, right.
I mean, this is longer than some Broadway runs and TV series. Over
I know.
600 episodes live, almost 7 days a week. And this isn't even my full-time job. I have a full-time job in television.
It's amazing. Radio. You're amazing, Jim.
Sometimes it's a scramble to get into this chair before we go live.
I was thinking that today. I was thinking
we build the whole show too. We build all, the graphics and the content, and we don't just pop on and here we are. There's all this process behind to create each episode, which is monumental.
I was thinking that today because I know, I mean, it's amazing because you do a lot of research, being able to find all these things. And, I guess and doing this every show, it's really, you reach a lot of people and, you're really, dedicated. It's just so wonderful how you dedicated to presenting this.
Well, hopefully if people are entertained and inspired and educated and maybe learn something new, maybe it takes a load off their day. And,
yes.
We have a lot of fun, a lot of levity, and a lot of, cool moments. And that famous levity, the levity and love together that happened accidentally. All of that is what this series is all about. We don't even call these interviews. People say, oh, is that an interview show? Am I doing an interview? I say, these are conversations. This is, something where we bring in an audience watching, they're commenting. It's kind of like a television show that happens to just be on the internet. And we turn on the lights and we go at it and we have a good time doing it. And it just continues to go and grow. And as long as everybody keeps watching and spreading the word and telling everybody and subscribing to the YouTube channel and thumbs up and all the rest, it's a good thing. And Dennis gave us the thumbs up. It says, great show, guys. Dennis, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And hope you'll be back as well. He's now a JMS Lovity, right?
That's it.
He sure is. And Jane's watching in Sweden. She loved it as well. Sweden and Kansas. Thank you, John, for such an interesting evening. Love your instruments and songs as well. Gary, enjoyed listening to your guitar playing on the show tonight. Love that as well. And all these comments coming in here.
Wow. It's great.
Jen, Pennsylvania. John, thank you for spending time with us tonight, and fun show tonight as
Thank you
well.
so much.
Yeah, I love all this. Merlin had asked how tall you are. Cutting to the chase.
How tall am I? Just about 6 foot,
Yeah,
5'11".
yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. And
Last time I checked.
hearts from Barbara.
Hey, Barbara,
We love Barbara.
how you
Thanks.
doing tonight?
Yes, Barbara. Having some Strega? I think everybody is tonight.
Yeah, Strega's man.
Having some Strega while you watch the Gym Master Show
I'm
live.
gonna have some Vino Rosso.
Oh, you have some right there. You've earned it. Sip, sip, sip. Very nice. I love that.
That's my little.
You've earned it. You sang for your supper tonight by way of string instruments.
Yes.
Well, we will, as always, keep the porch light on for you, my friend. It was a pleasure having you here. I hope we get a chance to, get together again in person, which we've done many times. But
yes,
we always have a good time and end up at a restaurant after with our hats. And of
know.
course, George Burns was
there
here
he
once
is.
again. There's George. He loved it. He had a good time.
Gracie.
Gracie fell asleep.
Oh,
She's in the genie bottle with Jeannie. They're chatting. They're having their hair done, George has got a cigar.
All right.
Everybody looks for this. As I said, it's a family heirloom.
I should get a pair of those glasses.
Actually, you're starting to get the look a little bit. Yes. Yeah, you need the cigar. There it is. You go, right? That is funny. There you go. Although I don't think George did the guitar. I don't think he played guitar. Did he play an instrument? Did I ever remember seeing him play anything?
I don't know. I don't remember.
We'll
have to do some research.
Yeah. And everybody's saying, Dennis says, Sheila says hi.
Hi, Sheila.
Hi, Sheila.
I hope you had a fun time in the pool. They're down in Florida.
Oh, that's what I was saying. We just came back from the holidays visiting our family in Florida and at the Masters compound. And
where in Florida is that?
Swimming the Atlantic. We were in the Northeast area, and then we were East Coast. We have family on the West Coast too, but we were on the East Coast. But the ocean I was swimming in it. It was about 75, 76 degrees, which is up here. It's about 40, 35. It's right now here it's in the Northeast it's 16 degrees.
Yeah, I know.
We're a little nippy, you and me.
Well, you got away right at the right time.
But that wine will warm you right up.
Oh yes. It certainly does.
You're the best, my friend. Really cool. I really appreciate it. I really love our friendship off air, and I really appreciate your spending this amount of time and coming back to grace our presence with your wit and wisdom and your talent as my guest tonight again, John. Always a pleasure.
It's wonderful. I love your show. Love hanging out with you. We have to get together and have some hats and some Strega.
That sounds good. That sounds good to me. It's a date, my friend. You be well, okay? You keep doing your thing, making that music for all of us. And again, we'll keep that porch light on for you and have you back soon, okay?
Okay, Jim. Thank you everyone for coming and showing up tonight.
Yeah.
And for your comments. Love to you all.
Absolutely.
And keep watching Jim. He's got great shows.
I appreciate that. I know because you watch sometimes even with the other guests we have on, you check in, and I appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
No, it's great. I mean, you really, like keeping it going, you're keeping us, moving and, with all the, closed down and everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. We started this May 2020 and people said, how long are you going to do it for? Just during the pandemic or what?
Yeah, right.
And because, this is a side thing and I don't know, the bug bit me. I just keep doing it.
I love it.
Here.
Yeah, no, it's great. You have a great following and, every show is so unique, and it's just, it's also very soothing.
we try to come at it in a way that's
Like
sort of
being in your living room. People could watch this at home. They could be on, just hanging around, having a chat.
right. I mean, nobody knows whether I'm wearing pants or you're wearing pants.
Yeah, I know. I'm in my slippers.
You're in your slippers, see? And I have socks on.
You got socks on?
Of course.
All right.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You be well, my friend. Again.
Okay. All the best to you.
All the best. 2 hours we did. Isn't that cool?
Wow.
Didn't feel like it.
Goes by so fast.
It really does. All the guests say that. It really, really does.
Yeah. Well, this was a great show. Great evening.
My pleasure.
Now
pleasure.
I'm going to enjoy some nice food and some vino.
Anything you want to say to the students that might have been watching?
Just I hope that you had fun and keep playing.
Yeah.
And keep enjoying music.
Don't give up. Right.
Don't give up.
Absolutely.
Just go through the obstacle course.
That's it. That's it.
What life is all about.
And Professor La Barbera is there to help you.
I am.
We'll see you again soon, my friend. All right.
Okay. Ciao tutti.
Ciao tutti. Cheers, slancha.
Okay.
Catch you later.
All right. Bye now.
Thanks, John.
Bye.
Live from Teaneck, New Jersey, our very special guest, guitar virtuoso, composer extraordinaire, multi-instrumentalist, award-winning multi-instrumentalist, the wonderful John La Barbera here. And again, we were very honored to have him here for our second visit. This is the second time he was here. And maybe this time you got a chance to learn a little bit more about his extraordinary background, his incredible playing, all the material he's been involved in. Again, like I said, he's been a private coach for the kids of Philip Glass and Paul Simon. He's worked with Jennifer Beals, but so much more. I mean, his breadth of music and study is extraordinary, not just one particular style of music, though he does have his expertise in select areas. He is just brilliant. He picks up the instruments, as you've seen, and can really knock it out of the park, as he did tonight for all of us. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. If you did, give this episode a thumbs up on our YouTube channel. We would love that. That's that little thumbs up icon right there by this video episode. We would love that. And again, don't forget to subscribe. That really helps us big time, gang. Really spread the word. Click the notification bell so you never miss any of the episodes. And also leave a comment for us as well on that YouTube channel, which is Jim Masters TV. We have an extraordinary weekend of guests coming up. We have 2 shows tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. Eastern. And then we've got another show at 3 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. Lots of special guests. If you wanted to see who's coming up, just take a look at our YouTube channel. Everything is posted there. We've got amazing guests. Tremendous, legendary music performer David Becker is going to be with us tomorrow. Yes, at 7 p.m. Eastern, live from Los Angeles, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And then we have the stars of the movie. This is Academy Award winner Seymour Castle's very last film, which has been finally released. And we have the stars of the incredible, anticipated film Cosmic Radio. Yes, they're the stars of Cosmic Radio. A couple of the performers and the producer are going to be with us tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, for those of you that are watching live. And then more special guests. We've got a special surprise guest coming up on Sunday as well. Jen Barry says from Pennsylvania, Jim, hope we can have John back. Fun show. You're very welcome. Jen and Jane in Sweden says, thanks for being here. Thanks, Jim. She's watching again in beautiful Sweden. My pleasure. You guys, again, thanks for being with us here on the show. We love you all. Take care. Be well. We'll see you on the next episode. Spread the word. Share the love. Tell everybody you know about our series. That really does help us big time. We really appreciate when you guys do that. Help us grow. Share the lovity. Tell everybody about our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. And again, while you do that, make sure that you come back and see us again. I'll be here waiting for you guys. We love it when you're here. It's always a good time. It's like a party in your living room and in ours here at the Jim Masters Show Live. We'll see you again soon. Okay, gang? Be well. Take care of one another. Love one another. I'm your host, Jim Masters. Thanking you for your time this time till next time here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Be well. Take care. And cheers.